So welcome everybody. Obviously, if you've been in the sessions today, you've heard about the value of CPQ and what kind of returns you're getting. What we're going to learn today, though, is how can you amplify that ROI in CPQ? By integrating and having an integrated CLM system right with your CPQ has provided tremendous returns, and we're happy to have Michelle here from Rogers walk through really their results as they've really went and embarked on an integration of CPQ with CLM at Rogers. Michelle?
Thanks, Doug. Good afternoon, everybody. I had a joke ready about my picture. I was going to say that was me before we deployed a CPQ CLM system, and this is me now, but I thought maybe the Apttus folks wouldn't find that quite as amusing as I do, so let's just say that that's me before parenthood, and this is me now, which is equally true. So I am the Director of Deal and Contract Management at Rogers, which means that I'm responsible for everything on the deal to contract lifecycle chain, as far as incorporating all of our approvals into an accurate contract, delivering that contract to our customers, the systems that deliver that contract to our customers, and post-contract lifecycle management, making sure that we adhere to those contracts, and also revenue assurance as well, that relates to contracts. I normally skip over this slide for a Canadian audience, but for the purposes of non-Canadians, Rogers is an integrated communications company based out of Canada, obviously, based out of Toronto, Ontario. We are what's normally referred to as a quad play in the industry, which is to say that we are both an IP, cable, voice, and digital company. And we are Canada's largest wireless communications carrier, as well as its largest cable TV carriers. We also own the several sports franchises, such as the half of the Toronto Maple Leafs, all of the Toronto Blue Jays, a lot of magazine and TV and radio in Canada. So again, quite a large company. Our annualized revenues last year were somewhere in the order of about $13.7 billion. I work for the portion of Rogers known as the Enterprise Business Unit, so the portion of Rogers that is the B2B space, which represents about 2.5 of that $13.7 billion in annualized revenue. So still quite a big slice of the pie. But in the grand scheme of the overall Rogers, we are sort of the smaller cousin to our consumer business unit. So how did we get here, and why am I here talking to you about CPQ and CLM transformation today? The Enterprise Business Unit at Rogers is actually a amalgamation of a bunch of acquired companies. And I'm sure this is actually fairly consistent across a lot of industries, but Rogers is a company that was founded around a monopoly, but then expanded through acquisition. And so when we did that acquisition, we realized that we had not one, not two, but three separate Salesforce CRMs. Different companies that we had acquired had purchased Salesforce independently. And when we were merged into a single business unit, we found that those instances were now not only duplicative, but also conflicting with one another. So the first part of our growth stage into a CPQ CLM quote-to-cash enterprise was to unify those three instances into a single Salesforce instance, which was done in 2015. That was right around the time that I was taking over my current role. So this was happening as I was hired to transform into the next stage. At the same time as we were doing that, we also went to RFP for a CPQ CLM system. So in late 2013, early 2014, we went to RFP and looked for both an integrator and a CPQ CLM software as a service provider. And in early 2015, we chose as our CPQ and CLM provider. You'll see May 2016 there. That is actually the date that our product, which we refer to internally as Optic, went live. So our CPQ CLM system was in its infancy in 2014, 2015. The project to deploy it took place over an 11-month time span, and we went live on May 15th of 2016. So coming up on 1 year that we've been on our new Apttus CPQ CLM system. So that's a little bit about our evolution as far as software is concerned within Rogers.